Okay, the time being 10 o'clock, call the meeting to order. And good morning. This is the Raleigh Municipal Lighting Plant meeting of June 11th, 2013. And this meeting is being audio and video recorded. Our first agenda item is welcome new Commissioner Robert Snow. Unfortunately, Mr. Snow could not be with us this morning. He's out of state. And so we can welcome him. And
Welcome, Bob.
look forward to having him come to our meetings. The second agenda item is election of board chairman and secretary. So how do we want to handle that? Would it be better to have the three members here?
It's up to you, but maybe we should wait for Bob, so.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I'm not sure he wants to be chairman. But
Well, I mean, if you miss the meeting, you never know what you're elected to.
exactly. And somehow I think Ken's going to get him into the clerk's position anyway. So yeah, I think it would be probably advisable and a little bit more fair to have him here also. So we'll push that off to the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay. The chairman will stay the same until there's a replacement anyway, so. Okay, item number 3 is review and accept meeting minutes from prior meetings. And I believe Eric has given us the minutes for May 7th, 2013. And Eric, on I think it's page 2. Terms and conditions.
Yep.
Page, in paragraph that says page 4.
Okay.
And paragraph 14, should we cite the law under chapter 264? It should be 164.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
It's okay, that's okay, that's why you send them to us. And other than that, that's all I have.
Okay.
Do you have anything, Ken? Did you notice anything?
Shall we accept those meetings?
Okay, motion made to accept the
We accept it, yeah.
May 7th, 2013 Commissioners meeting minutes.
Yep.
I'll second it.
Second it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Minutes are accepted. Anything else to say?
Yeah.
Do you want me to run off and I know when?
Do you want to make the change right now and then come back with a?
Well, it's actually on a different page than the signatures, so.
Okay, so we'll just sign the
Yeah.
back page.
Okay.
and then-
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go again.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 4, review final draft of terms and conditions.
At our last meeting, we had talked about the terms and conditions, and it was recommended that a few additions be made or edits be made to the terms and conditions, and I had emailed you the final draft with those recommended edits.
Yep.
So if we want to go over and make sure that I did do everything that was recommended at the last meeting, then we'll,
Okay, actually, I did kind of review them again. And everything looked good to me. Except for, I've got it as page 6. Item number 22.
Okay.
And the B
Oh,
didn't get filled in.
I missed that one.
I know, you
Please
left it.
check.
You left it in there so you could test it.
Mhm.
You would charge, I apologize for that.
No, that's okay. I think that's it.
Okay.
Do you have anything, Ken?
No, no, that's the only. No,
Okay. So, do you want to make a motion to accept
I'll make,
the,
I'll make a motion that we accept the terms and conditions that have been proposed.
okay, motion made, and I will second that motion. All in favor of accepting the terms and conditions as directed?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
I will make that one last addition and make it effective as of today and send a
Okay.
copy to the DPU so they have an official copy from us.
Wonderful, sounds great. And agenda item number 5, review 2012 audit and management letter.
Okay. I assume we all had a chance to study the audit package that I had left out for you. And if there's any first I'll ask if there's any questions and then we can go over the management letter to start. Or if you want to start with the communications with those charged with governance, however you want to review the management letter and the audit itself.
Okay, I mean, I think the important part of the audit is the management letter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that pretty much gives you the breakdown of where there might be some issues or not issues. So I'm assuming that the arithmetic is correct in the financial statement, so.
Yes, yes.
I mean, it's generally straightforward as far as that goes. So, and nothing jumped out at me in financials, so.
Okay. I did have some concerns. Well, I'd like to address some things with the board as far as the management letter goes.
Okay,
If you want to, I didn't have anything until, I think it was page 4, page 3 actually. But if the board wants to talk about anything prior to that, we can.
no, I think it's pretty much straightforward. It's just standard type audit management letter at the beginning that Mr. Stefani gave us. And I have to agree with you as that we should start discussing it on page 3.
Okay. Basically, under page 3, under item 2C3, under the work order job cost system.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I look at the management letter is, there are things in the management letter that, and the auditor does discuss this in the management letter, that there are things he recommends that may or may not be able to be implemented by a utility this size.
Right.
When they do the GAP, government audit, accounting, thank you. They don't take into account sometimes the size of the utilities that are being audited. So some of the recommendations in here might be for utilities that are much larger size than ourselves.
Mhm.
So taking that into account, there's a few things I'd like to address in the management letter that I think we can work on and maybe come to a resolution on some of these items. Hopefully by maybe next year's audit or even beyond, something that we may want to work on in the future. So item 2C3, work order job cost system.
Mhm.
The first paragraph, about halfway down, there's a statement that says retirement data should be generated throughout the year from work orders as projects as projects are completed, not at year end as currently the practice.
Right.
That is something that we can definitely work on. Eric and I can work on that. as the work orders come in, the guys can notate on the work order what was taken down, what will be reused, what will be retired, so we can actually
I
keep.
think for
moving.
the audience, we need to let them know that when we talk retirement, it's not employee retirement, it's materials retirement.
Sorry, correct, yes,
That
it's
we get
material
credits from.
retirement.
Yeah, when you say retirement, and you think about retiring, and that's not really the case. It's materials that need to be accounted for and taken off the books.
Taken off the books, correct, yes. So I think Eric and I probably can come to an agreement on a spreadsheet that we can maintain,
Mhm.
and then on a monthly basis, we can actually book those retirements against the proper account
Yeah.
and work on it on a monthly basis, and that way total it at year end.
Yeah, I think it'll probably be easier in the long run for you to do that rather than him to do it at the end of the year and try to find everything.
Right.
You can keep track of it as it goes on. I think it'll work well, and we'll probably be a lot more accurate as to our retirements, which is a good thing for the accounting.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, and then in the same section, but the second paragraph, last sentence states, "The plant must also improve its annual recording of retirements." Sure, and that goes along with the same thing. We just need to do a better job at
Mhm.
recording the retirements. On
And I
a
think
monthly
by
basis.
changing it to the monthly system, that'll help a
Okay.
lot. It really help a lot. I mean, as one that's done that before in the past, it's always a struggle at the end of the year to try to find all that data.
Mhm.
And I think if you do it, it's on a monthly basis, it'll work out fine.
Okay. The next section I have is 2C4, accrued vacation sick leave buyback. Currently, as he states in that paragraph, we don't currently accrue the sick time at year end. It is a recommendation that he has, and I talked to the accountant, and basically she gave me a simple spreadsheet that we can use to account for that
Okay.
accrued time at the year end. That way we can actually give it to the auditor when he asks for it, and he can book it accordingly. And we can book it on the year-end financials, on the year-end income statement, on the year-end balance sheet, I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I think our system's getting a little bit bigger each year, and these things are starting to catch up with us.
Yeah, especially when you have sick time buyback now that you have to record, so that is something that we need to keep track of.
Exactly, yeah.
Any questions so far? Or?
You all set now?
Nope.
Okay.
The next section is 2C5, customer accounts receivable. Do you want me to read this whole paragraph, or you just want me to summarize kind of what it says? And
Well,
I can, for the audience, I can read the whole paragraph, that
Okay.
way everybody understands. Customer accounts receivable, monthly power bills have increased significantly over the past few years, going from 108,539 at December 31st, 2009 to 181,217 at December 31, 2010 to 203,052.80 at December 31st, 2011 and 289,581 at December 31, 2012. This is due in part to increases in fuel charges, but also relates to an increase in late paying customers. Amounts due over 60 days increases. Over 60 days increased from approximately 34,000 in 2009 to 61,000 in 2010 to 67,000 in 11 and 113,000 in 2012. The plant should examine the reasons behind these increases in outstanding accounts receivable, that's on the next page, sorry, and implement enhanced collection procedures. Basically, what I have done is implemented a lien. We didn't use to lien customers, as far as I know, so we did. Eric and I have started liening a larger amount of customers that we have done in the past. So we're enhancing our collection procedure that way. We reinstituted the debt collection program through an outside service. We have sent more customers to that debt collection service. And we will also start writing off customers that have bad debt over, what was the figure we talked about? It was it was more than 120 days. It was basically people that have moved out who have left us with bills that
you know, any
Basically-
balances, yeah.
we've exhausted collection procedures, so we cannot find them, they can't find them, So basically, that debt is still in the book, so we have to make sure we write that debt out.
Check it out.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a catch-22 situation. We do have the state rules that we have to follow as far as shut-offs and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was one of our major tools to use to collect past due bills, is the shut-off notices and things. And there are certain requirements that we have to follow, and certain times of year that we can't do that. So, and, you know, people are hurting out there.
Mm-hmm.
They really are. I mean, it's, the recession is, at this time frame that we're talking about, 2012, is really caught up with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Hopefully, things start to turn around now, that things seems to be going in the right direction.
We have, and I'm sure we've done this in the past, but we've done payment plans. We offer payment plans for customers.
Yes.
So that we've been kind of pushing those more now, trying to get the customers to pay. And we go 4 to 6 months on the payment plan, so we can try to get customers to catch up.
Yeah, that'll be good. I mean, we have to work, I think we have to work with our customers to try and get this done. Some will never be able to work with, others will, I'm sure, work with us,
Mhm.
because they don't want to be in debt either. We just have to follow through. And, use what we can to the extent that we can as far as ours are concerned. So, could be worse.
Yes. And just so you know, we will be coming to you in July with a write-off, with a list of write-offs and the amounts
Okay.
for the commissioner's approval in July.
Yep.
Item 2C6, statements of auditing standards on fraud and risk assessment. In the second paragraph, the auditor states, one of the elements of an organization's internal control is risk assessment. Therefore, it is important that the plant periodically perform a risk assessment process to analyze, identify, and evaluate areas where the plant may be exposed to various financial risks. As part of this process, the plant should review its systems, procedures, and internal controls in all material, financial, and operational areas, determine if any modifications are required to minimize such risk. The plant should also ensure that it has an ongoing monitoring program in place to periodically test the effectiveness of any related policies and procedures that are in place. When, before I had started here, we had signed a letter of agreement, I believe, with Powers and Sullivan. It was, and that was instituted with the Board of Selectmen. There's a lot of history to that. I think we all know about the history behind that. A scrap metal audit was done as part of that. But as part of that also, in the letter that I saw, there was also a operational risk assessment and another risk assessment that was supposed to be done by Powers and Sullivan. I've called the gentleman two or three times now, having trouble connecting with him, having trouble getting to actually go to the next step. I mean, the process was started with the employees as far as interviews and whatnot. It had never been finished. I'm
Okay.
trying to work with that to try and get some of those procedures or risk assessments done.
It should be getting a little easier probably about now to start to make contact with them, because they do a lot of municipal work. And right at the end of the year, town meeting time, books are being closed. And right now, with July 1, they start a new year.
Mhm.
So they're working, getting those customers that they have squared away at the end of the year. It's not like us where we can do it in December.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I wouldn't give up on them. I mean, it's a good firm.
okay.
And they've got some history already with us. It would be good to have them do that.
And that's the reason I was calling him, basically because I talked to Eric and the other employees, and there was interviews conducted, so I don't want to start fresh again. I'd rather, they already have the history with us, so we can proceed with that. As soon as I can get the ball rolling with that, I will.
Yeah, no, that'd be great.
Okay.
That'd be great.
And that should address that portion of the management letter. The next one, any questions so far, or?
Nope.
Under 2C7, statutory rate of return, it's spelled wrong, it should be DPU regulations.
I was questioning that, but I didn't want to make another red line.
It should be DPU regulations require that the plant set its customer prices so as not to exceed a rate of return in excessive 8% of gross plant. The plant exceeded this amount in 2012 by approximately 150,000. Basically, the way I'm going to correct that is, as I've talked to the board over the last few months, is lowering the PPA rate. So far, up to date, we've lowered the PPA rate by $0.015.
Oh, good.
So the customer's bills, I had it on my goals and things, accomplishments, so
Yep.
we have lowered the PPA rate by $0.015, so that should knock that down significantly by the end of the year.
Exactly, yep.
And then, I didn't have anything on 8. On 9, segregation of duty, cash receipts. Probably at the top of the first paragraph, I'll start reading. However, it was noted that a significant amount of cash receipts duties are being performed by one individual. These duties include being the primary person at the customer counter, preparing the daily deposit, entering cash receipts into the billing system, and preparing monthly summary reports. While there is some oversight in mitigating controls in place, some receipt duties should be better segregated among office staff. The plant should review policies and procedures related to cash receipts. Some of the aforementioned duties should be separated between office staff and more management review and oversight of system entries, and reconciliations should be implemented. And basically what he's talking about is Sandra handles most of the cash receipts on a daily basis. She enters all the cash into the computer. She enters the checks into the computer. She does do a lot of the window work. They do back and forth as far as phone calls and window work, but Sandra does do the majority of it. So what he's recommending is that and Sandra does go to the bank every day that she's here. What he's recommending is that we somehow spread that around a little bit, so there's more oversight to checking the deposit, checking the cash receipts. This is a recommendation by him, and I think it's something that we can easily implement just by having some kind of checks and balances within the office.
I think the reconciliation part is probably the key. Make sure that gets done, and hopefully things balance out.
I don't see that as a major thing either. It's something that he recommended, and I think it's something we can implement without a problem.
Very good.
And on the next page, under section 3, informational matters, accounting audited standards, under 3-1, GASB 45, other post-employment benefits, or OPEB. I talked to, I'm not going to read that whole paragraph. I just want to kind of talk to the board about if the board recollects anything being done in the past. I looked through minutes back to 2006. I didn't find anything about OPEB language. I know the town has adopted a certain chapter of the general law for OPEB language and actually has started funding their liability. We have not. The Light Department has not done, as far as I know, adopted any language or started funding their OPEB liability going forward.
I'm not aware of it either, so.
Okay.
But I haven't been around that long as far as being on the board, so.
Like I said, I went back through the minutes, searching through the minutes till 2005. OPEB didn't really come about till after that, so I'd assume there's no language in place for the board. So at July meeting, I will have some OPEB language for you to adopt in order to establish a fund, name the treasurer as the custodian of that fund, and then we can talk about a funding strategy for that account as well.
Okay.
I think it's something important that we should start.
Yeah, they're getting heavier and heavier on this kind of thing. So, I mean, I know the town is appropriating money each year to put into the OPEB fund. It's not a huge amount, but at least they're making an effort to do it.
The liability will only grow with time,
Exactly.
and if we don't start funding it, it's something that will, get away from us.
Catch up with us once at some point in time. Yeah.
But I mean, that is the things that I would like to address in the management letter. I mean, some of the other things that I saw in there were.
There's some good news here too.
There is some good news.
There's some of these GASB requirements, particularly for 2013. Looks like they're not gonna affect us.
No, I know, that's always good news.
So, that is good news.
But I mean, certain things in here, like the work order, job cost system documentation, some of it is something we can do, some of it with our current billing system, we're not able to do,
Okay.
or would have to incur some expenses in order to get the new programming, or certain parts of the system would have to be updated.
Well, I think Dan, that there's some things here that we would really need to look at.
Mhm.
And other things, I think, as you mentioned earlier, that probably don't affect us that much, considering our size and the plant and the operation itself. Just, we don't have that many employees, as one thing. So, I think that some of these we need to look at, as you've suggested, and we should do that.
Okay. Is there any other questions or comments on the audit package? Nope. Will you, grab everybody, because the next item on the agenda is executive session?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. May have an issue with that, Dan.
For the executive session?
Yeah, particularly on the non-union employees
Okay,
that are non-contract.
okay.
That may have to be an executive, may have to be an open session.
Okay, that's fine. I'm sure they won't mind as well.
Let me check the Bible here.
Oh, yeah. I know when I looked at the,
Just to be sure.
the front doors just thing going, or was that something?
That was-
That was Scooter.
Oh, the scooter.
Scooter?
Scooter the copier, right?
Yeah.
Under the 10 purposes for executive session, under on number, not that one.
It's actually section 2, it's on page 7.
Yep. A person negotiations with non-union personnel to conduct collective bargain sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel. So it's up, I mean, it's up to the board, whichever way you want to go.
Okay.
How was that flagpole?
The whole rope is missing.
The whole rope was missing?
Yeah. I'm guessing someone pulled it right through.
Do they have a new rope or do?
I'm sure they have the rope, but just, one end goes up and over,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't do anything.
Okay.
I think,
This
we're-
is,
I think right after this, we're gonna go over there.
Okay.
It does mention contract negotiations with non-union personnel, and you do have a contract.
Yes.
The rest of the personnel does not,
Okay.
so. So you may need to hold the employee negotiations in open session.
I don't think that's an issue.
So in any event, whatever the outcome of the negotiations will have to be addressed in open session, even with the contract
Okay.
portion of it too. That has to be, the final outcome needs to be made public. So, okay.
You guys want copies of that new survey? It's right there.
Oh, yeah.
So, I guess we need to, at least in open session, review the request of the employees. And if I remember right, it was 2.5%.
Yep.
And, after looking at the survey, it seems that we're pretty much on average,
Yeah, we're right, yeah, we're,
which is, I think that's a good thing. I know the town basically came forward, gave their employees with the new system that they're putting together, a new survey system, 1.25% town employees received this year as a straight through. And hopefully in the years to come, we can fund that continually for the town employees. So that we can at least be in the ball game, if you will.
yep.
You got any comments, Ken?
No, nope. Seems to be right in that, the average column there.
Yeah, but, I was kind of pleased to see that.
We just,
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yes.
we just took that, I mean, we averaged, like, you know, how you guys can have the future grades of everybody else, which is 2.49.
Mhm.
And then we just took inflation, which was about 2%, 2 point something, almost 2.5 for the last year. And that's how we came up with 2.5%.
Hmm.
I mean, like you said, we're pretty much right with the average now with the, you know, the trade or the industry standard.
Yep.
And we just felt we just stick with what the average was.
Okay. I guess I gotta ask the question.
I hope I have an answer.
Would you consider 2%?
Yeah, I think we would.
What do you think, Dan?
I would rather recommend the 2.5, seeing as, I know we're average as far as the meme survey goes, but if you look at the last column and the percent health insurance paid by the town,
Mm-hmm.
we're one of the lowest.
Yeah, I understand. That's always been a contention. One of the things we're stuck with is that the light department itself as an entity cannot change it from what the town is authorized to change. I mean, and that's always been kind of a, I don't really want to say issue, but it's been a problem. We would like to take that of our employees, but because of state law.
Right, I would just ask you if you consider that, you know, that column when you think about how much the employees are getting, because I'm not sure what the insurance rate increase was this year,
3.4%.
3.4%.
So there isn't a whole lot that, as a light department, that we can do about that.
No, the only thing we can do really is make sure that we keep our employees somewhere, and they are, is somewhere in the middle,
Yeah.
and as long as we keep that, you know, perspective.
No, and I agree with you on that philosophy. I would like to see that very much so.
I would say if you wanted to go down, maybe go to 2.25 rather than all the way down to 2. That's my opinion.
No, I understand.
I'm not speaking for them or I'm not speaking for you.
No,
so
no,
kind of in the
and
middle.
I mean,
I don't want to beat them up either. I really
no,
don't.
obviously, yeah, I mean, the 2.5's average, but I'm not gonna lie, we'd be happy with 2% as well. You know, right. I think we all would still come in every day and work just as hard either way, so.
And I mean, I appreciate Dan's thought. I
Yeah,
really
no.
do. I mean, I want to make sure that he has input on this also.
Yeah.
Uh,
But obviously, I mean, it's different, but the insurance it's an expense for the town, but it's an expense for an individual as well. You know,
Absolutely.
it's a lot of money.
Absolutely.
It's good insurance, but it's just,
Yeah,
so,
yeah. And I think we're quote unquote lucky to to have any policy like that.
Yeah.
Through Maya. So unfortunately, this is the way it's worked through the years. The town has never really come forward and tried, and as you pointed out earlier, a lot of them get a much higher percentage.
Yeah, I mean, we took the average of that, I think it's,
Hmm,
I don't know what it is, 67, 66,
Yeah.
65.
To be honest with you, I don't mind 2 1/4. I could live with 2 1/4.
Okay.
So if you guys will accept that,
Yeah, that's fair. Thank you.
yes. So, what do you think, Ken?
yep, that's right. If they're acceptable to it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
You want to make a motion?
Okay, I make a motion that we accept it at 2 1/4.
2 1/4%. I'll second that motion. Yeah.
Effective July 1st.
Yeah, I think
Put that with
That's
it.
usually what we do every year.
Okay, yeah, I was starting to think back. This is June, isn't it?
Yeah, It's written down somewhere here.
Yes, lady.
Time's flying, I think.
But, yeah, effective July 1st. Okay. Motion made, second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. And item number 6 is the continuation of the contract negotiations. And it's a motion to go into executive session to conduct contract negotiations with non-union personnel. I've already taken care of the employee contract. So I will need a motion to enter executive session for the purpose of conducting strategy and contract negotiations with non-union personnel in accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A2, and to reconvene in open session. And the chairman declares that it could be detrimental to the negotiations to hold the meeting in open session. You want to make that motion?
Yeah, I'll make that motion, yeah,
Okay.
yep. Yeah.
The camera can stay on, but the door needs to close, that's all.
And I will second it. Okay. And we need a vote by roll call vote to pass this motion. Aye, do you vote, Mary?
Yeah, I go with, yep, Ken Keys.
Okay. Now back in open session. Open the door, and we just want to report that we have negotiated the new contract terms with our municipal light plant manager. We have offered him an extra week's vacation and a 2.25% salary increase. And I'm assuming you will modify the contract as such?
I will modify the contract. What we did not talk about is effective date.
Effective date, and when was your 6 months up? It must be now.
Yeah, it was prior to, I think the contract stated July 1st though.
July 1st?
Yeah.
Okay, and
Yeah.
if you're happy with that, we'll make it July 1st.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Is there any other business to come before the board? One question I'd like to ask, I know we're gonna have the next meeting. I don't know if you're gonna wait till the middle of July, if you want to do it earlier to get Bob in so we can get reorganized and so forth.
What Bob had asked me to do was mention to the chairman that he would like to put a agenda item for moving the meeting to, I believe, the town hall prior to this moving into 10 a.m. at the light plant. We did have it at the town hall at 7 p.m. I think he would like to include that on the agenda item for next meeting would be to
Okay.
move the meetings to the, probably the town hall at
Yeah,
7 p.m.
unfortunately, because it's not on the agenda, the posting, we can put that on the next meeting,
Mhm.
and we can vote that at that point.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll take that into consideration and put it on the next agenda item for us, please.
Yep.
Okay. Is there anything else?
Nothing else, no,
Okay.
no.
We can have a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.